Welcome everybody to our next Teaching and Learning Forum, International Teaching and Learning Forum. We have two presenters today. We have Bernard Matsoso and Dr. Carl Maresh. And the first presenter will be Bernard Matsoso. He was born in South Africa in '85, very young. I studied in... Yeah, that's important to point out. So, he studied in several places. He's been around like South Africa, Italy, Germany, Hungary, Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and United Kingdom. He taught also in several countries, South Korea, Japan, and South Africa, respectively. In 2013, he worked at the University of South Africa and was responsible for international affairs in the College of Education. So he's now working as a teaching practice coordinator at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology at Cape Town, South Africa. So without further ado, I would like to invite Bernard to present his topic on the reaction of supervisors toward introduction of tablet devices in teacher supervision. Yes, please.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to stand here or?
The camera will follow wherever you go. So
Okay.
I'll try to stand by.
So I shouldn't worry.
Yeah, you shouldn't worry, right?
And what is this?
Oh, I thought I would show you. This is. Can I finish it off? This is basically a nice video that shows South Africa. We've got about 9 provinces. Cape Town being our legislative city because our parliament is based in Cape Town. And this was our former president. We have Free State province, which is our administrative city because all our laws and everything are handled in that city. We also have we also have Pretoria, which is our capital city, because our president resides in. I think this is not the one. Sorry. Yeah. So Cape Town, not Cape Town. Pretoria, that's where the president resides. We call it Union Building. In the States, it's called White House. And 40 kilometers away from Pretoria, in the same province, you've got Johannesburg, which, by the way, is not a capital city, but it's the largest city in South Africa. So we call it a commercial or the financial center of Africa in general. It's a very beautiful country with 4 seasons, but our summer is the longest. So if you want to escape your long, cold winters, you're more than welcome to come to South Africa. It's a beautiful country, and I believe for the United States people, it's quite cheap to spend your money there because our foreign exchange is a little bit weaker compared to US dollars. And I'm currently based in Cape Town at Cape Peninsula University. It has recently received the status of university in 2005. It used to be Technikon Cape Town, but now the government have decided to merge different universities into University of Technology. So my university just celebrated 10 years of being or having a university status. In fact, if not 2 weeks ago. So we're still very young, and I am based in a primary education department where I am responsible for placing students in schools for their teaching practice. So we have over 1,000 students who are responsible for, I think, from grade R up to grade 9. So my responsibility is to find schools for them, and once they've been placed, I have to find supervisors. So oftentimes we make use of retired teachers to go and evaluate student teachers, and we make use of professors because it's part of their workload to also evaluate students. But part of my job also is, it's more administrative. We use a lot of paper, and I don't like using paper. So I think I can start with this. Yeah. Okay. So this is the work that I've started 2 years ago while I was working at the University of South Africa. I was kind of like doing similar kind of a job, responsible for placing students in schools. But then at the University of South Africa, it was more I was looking at international students, because UNISA is one of the largest distance education in Africa. So we don't provide contact education or tuition. It's mostly on distance. So the university used to have over 350,000 students, of which 28,000 were student teachers within the College of Education. So you need to place all these students. And at the end of the day, it was more of an administrative task for me and the other colleagues that we could not handle. So then we also I thought of having, introducing the tablets to our supervisors so that they can use tablets instead of carrying 7-page long assessment forms with them. And they have maybe like 100 students that they have to visit in a week. And it was also costly for university to send out these assessments to the supervisors who were all over the country. And sending the feedback back to campus, it was a nightmare as well. So I thought of coming up with this topic, which reads, the reaction of supervisors towards the introduction of tablets during teaching practice. A little bit of the background here. In 2013, we have over 20,000 students. And if you double that, because some students take more modules, so we came to 28,000 module codes, because some students have to practice twice within the semester. And our programs there, we used to have, not we, because this is my previous university, we used to have 4 qualifications within the Faculty of Education, and each program runs for 4 years, and the teaching practice comes to 20 weeks within the duration of 4 years. So that will give you 2 months per year that students have to go out and do teaching practice. We also make use of the external supervisors I have explained earlier on. And these supervisors, because the university is distant, they are all over the country in 9 provinces, and some of them are located in Southern African countries, because we've got students in those places as well. And we make use of the UNISA academic staff because part of their workload is to evaluate at least 30 students. So what is remaining then is given to the external supervisors. Okay, this is South African map. These are 9 provinces we have. And the little one there, where do I? Okay. This is Pretoria, our capital city. So the university is located here, and they've got all these provinces that they catered for. And I'm not sure if you know of South African countries. South Africa is one of the countries which has 2 countries inside. This is not South Africa.
Oh.
It's a country on its own. So it's surrounded by South Africa.
What is the name?
It's called Maseru. Yeah, it's I mean Maseru. It's the capital city. It's called Lesotho. Yes, and you go up. This is Swaziland.
Not Switzerland.
It's also surrounded by South Africa. So oftentimes we say this would be our 10th and 11th province. So they don't like that, of course. So the supervisors are coming all over this, the country. So from the head office, you need to dispatch the assessment forms all over the country. And it's quite expensive. And you expect the very same supervisors to return their feedback back to the main campus. So the question is, what do you do now with feedback for 20,000 students? You only have 19 staff members who have to now archive all this information. Okay. So what we did, or what I did, was to conduct a pilot study because we wanted to perhaps test with not more than 20 supervisors whether it's going to be beneficial for them to use tablet devices. So the purpose also was to gain the understanding of their willingness. Will they be willing, because these are retired teachers. Some of them are not computer literate. So you might have some challenges to say, oh, I think, Bernard, you're trying to fire me now because you're introducing technology. I've been teaching for 20 years, and now you expect me to have a tablet and go evaluate students. How do you expect me to do that? Hence the reaction of the supervisors. Also to encourage them to make use of things like social media, because most of these supervisors, they have really, really expensive cell phones with applications, but they never use the application to interact with students. Oftentimes, they would prefer to actually give them a call, which is quite like expensive to call like 100 students to say, hey, I'm coming. Whereas you could just send a Facebook, WhatsApp, or any way that you can communicate with students. And also was to enhance the allocation and, most importantly, tracking of students' progress during teaching practice. The research questions that I had here was, the first one, which is the main, was how do supervisors feel about using tablets for supervision in terms of saving money, because at the end of the day, you need to reduce their cost. Why is it doing this anyway? Okay. And I also had some questions where I was interested to look at their competency level in terms of using the ICT. Hence, I've mentioned that these are old retired teachers. Will they feel comfortable? Are they competent to use the latest ITC? and what are their teaching experiences in using technology, for instance. And do they have access to social media, and at what level do they use their social media? And also, how can they use tablets for assessment? Okay, some challenges that we had in the teaching practice, since we had large numbers, was to place students on time. Our academic year in South Africa starts in January and it ends in November. So that's how we operate. So you've got January, it's actually for registration. So students are busy with the registrations. And you've got February and March to place students, because come April, they should all be in schools doing their practice. And oftentimes it was difficult to do that on time, and also to track their progress once they are in schools. I have already indicated the high transport cost that the university had to incur, sending the packs to the supervisors and to students. So oftentimes they would use courier service, which is quite expensive. So this usually created huge administrative burden for the office. And also it was kind of like difficult to trace students who are at risk, because oftentimes you will receive the feedback quite late. It's already towards the end of the year, so you cannot really identify students that need some form of intervention. This is the university system that we used for placing students, because there was no way you would do this manually. So we had what we call teaching practice unit student placement. So here you just put the student number and all the details will come out. But the shortcoming of this placement was not integrated in such a way that it can accommodate the supervisors. This is a system. So this system allows you to communicate with students and schools. So once you complete your placement, you can immediately send correspondence to the school, either by SMS or you can send an email. But supervisors were not part of this. Hence, I thought there's a need to find out about their reactions in using assessment electronically instead of using the paper. And oftentimes, because they were not included here, the communication between the teaching practice office and the supervisors, they were using traditional methods instead of sending emails and all that. So every time you need to make a phone call to the supervisors, sometimes they're not even available. So you have to try and try again. Because there's no time, I need to skip this quickly. Okay, the research methodology. I had an opportunity to survey over 248 supervisors. I used the training workshops that we had in 9 provinces, which were all running at the same time. So I distributed the questionnaires there, and I've got 82 response rate, which was quite good. And the survey was basically about understanding their competencies, whether they will be willing, and in terms of accessibility, do they have access to tablets or internet connectivity? Will they be able to connect once they are out there in schools? Because some schools are in remote areas. So what will be the point of giving a supervisor a tablet? They get to schools, they are offline. Yeah. And the issue of ownership. I wanted to find out in terms of if university is going to purchase these tablets, can we then say the supervisor are responsible for paying the tablets? Maybe you can get that money from their monthly payment to avoid university being responsible. So the research approach was more of qualitative, and I adopted convenience sampling because, like I've said, we had a provincial training for supervisors. So it was quite easier for me to distribute questionnaires during the workshop. And the results under the first findings here, the competency level, we found out that 50% of supervisors are actually experienced in using technology. And they have personal laptops, computers, and iPad. And also, the 17% shows the willingness to use their personal computers because they already have access to this. And they can actually use their own personal computers for teaching practice, even before they can get the university tablets. And the 75%, which is a good number, were competent in using specific device or technology. You're more than welcome to ask questions in between. Yeah. Okay. And also about the social media, 70% of them are on WhatsApp, but they never used WhatsApp with students. And 30% use Facebook, still they don't interact with students. It's just for their personal use. And 16% were active on Twitter. So despite their familiarity with social media, they still rely on cell phone, which is quite expensive if you were to call 100 students in a week to say, Bernard, I'm coming to see you next week, is it okay? And you need to do the same with the other one. So, whereas they could actually use WhatsApp, which they don't even have to pay that much to send generic messages to all students. They can even create so-called a group chat, which is quite manageable, and send it to all students that they have to see. But they still rely on traditional methods. The internet access, most of them have internet connection at home, which is good, and their cell phones, of course, because they use smartphones, have got internet connectivity. But the bottom line here is they do not interact with students using either email or the WhatsApp I have indicated earlier on. Because these are old-schooled people.
But you're young.
And the finding number 4, which is on how supervisors react to tablets devices, specifically for assessment. 78% of them, they see tablets as a cost-effective tool that they can easily adopt. And they were more prepared to use technology for students, provided there will be training. And they see the use of tablets device as an efficient form of communication with student teachers, including the teaching practice office. Because what it means is, once they all have tablets, they can send an instant feedback to teaching practice immediately after evaluating or supervising students. They don't have to sit and write narrative reports. They could also send the feedback easily to students immediately after the supervision. So some of the recommendations I've made here reads, social networking media should be integrated, because they have access to the social media. And training specifically on tablet-based activities should be provided, because you cannot assume now that they've got a tablet and they should know how to use it. Also, universities should be able to provide computer courses for those who are not computer literate, because you don't want to get rid of people now that you are introducing a new system. After all, these are quite experienced teachers, so you cannot replace them with tablets. You still need their experience. And the paper-based assessment should be slowly phased out. You don't decide within a day that you're going to buy 100 tablets, and from next year there won't be paper-based assessments. You have to phase it out gradually while you are training those who need training on computer and specifically on tablet activities. So the reason I wanted to share this with you, colleagues, is that currently this is not, I would say, a research kind of paper or an article. I still need to develop this or turn it into an article where I can actually publish this or turn it into a journal. So I would like to receive some feedback from you on how can I work on this to make it a very interesting research paper. Any questions?
What kind of device have they been using for tablets? Because here a lot of times we think of the iPad, which is probably $800, but we can buy an $80 tablet at the drugstore, right? However, it doesn't always have all the functionality that higher end one would. So, what are the kind of issues you've had there?
We were actually looking, because the university had money already for the tablets. So we were trying to get a lot of tablets from Samsung and Apple. But then the university was supposed to then put up their own function or features into those tablets. Especially the tablet, it has to be educational related. So it has to be linked to the university system. And you should also put measures whereby they don't use the tablets for their own personal gains. Yeah, so it has to come up with securities and all that. I'm not sure if I've answered.
So you're sort of betwixt in between. You've got some Samsungs or Apples. And,
yes.
Yeah, okay. And then the other question was, well, do you really want to restrict the use of the iPads? Because we just embarked at Newark campus, which is where I do a lot of the teaching work, on people having the option to get iPads instead of laptops. And that was sort of an issue. Do we just want it for, educational purposes? And people made and won the argument that, no, we don't. That the more people integrate this into their daily life, even if that's gaming, that they're more likely to use it for work purposes too. And then, it all equals out, so to speak, right? So, yeah. I don't know if that's something that you debated.
I think it's along the same line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. How many individuals used the tablets? Were they cohorts of groups of the supervisors, or do you have a lot of people who use them?
Currently, the university had over 500 supervisors.
Okay.
But this was supposed to be a pilot study of only 20 supervisors located in different regions, just to test whether this would be a right move for the university to do. And then we would be able to make a follow-up study once you have done the pilot study with the 20 supervisors, whether this is cost-effective, is it a good route to take. So currently, we didn't have iPads to give to all supervisors, and the intention also, it's not to use it in a group, It has to be individual. Yeah. Hence, I think I have also talked about ownership, where each individual have to say, okay, I'm prepared to use the university iPad, or I already have my iPad. I think the university can just load the necessary applications for me. Yeah.
I have a question. So what kind of preparation or trainings did you provide for the supervisors to apply this under teaching and supervision?
This is actually new. It hasn't been done yet.
Okay.
Hence, part of my recommendation is actually talked about training, because these are retired teachers who never had, some of them, never had education during their school age. In the case of Africa, technology in the classroom is not popular, it's still new. So if you're talking to a 50-year-old teacher about technology or bringing technology in the classroom, it's like, what do you mean?
Sure.
These are textbook-based teachers.
I was curious too, why did you choose those retired teachers? Why not spread out, all of the demographics, like in terms of some new, some middle career, and some old? What was the rationale behind that?
Okay. But now I think I had to narrow my studies quite easily. Number one, the supervisors that we use are retired teachers. So we don't make use of teachers who are currently in the system.
Oh, okay. That's why.
So that was the easiest way to narrow it down to specifically the retired teachers within our teaching practice.
Sure.
Those who do the actual supervision of
Field.
students.
Right, yeah, I get it.
One of the questions you might want to pose as you are, as you're shaping this study, is how the individual supervisors, what were their sense of efficacy around the use of the tablets, and then that might help you, better gauge how comfortable they are and how likely they're all to continue to use it.
Yeah, thanks for that. Hence, I think I talked about not necessarily phasing out the paper-based assessment. You still continue with it while you gradually train the supervisor on how to use the tablets. And also the usage of tablets is new to the university as well. So they still have to learn whether it's good for the university at the same time.
Do they use the same supervisors? I mean, are you investing in people who will come back and do it again? Or
Yes.
is it just open to anybody who wants to do it one time here, maybe not?
We actually have established a good relationship with the supervisors, so they get contract on an annual basis. And as part of the study, the pilot study, we're actually looking at those supervisors who have served the university for more than 5 years. Because these are the people that you know that they can do the work. You can rely on them. It's not like, hey, I've got tablets. They come, gone. No.
How many observations does a pre-service teacher get?
The students have to be in schools for 1 month per semester. So what happens is each student has to be evaluated twice by 2 different supervisors.
So to me, like the usefulness of the tablet is for formative feedback.
Yes.
So the comments can be sent to the pre-service teacher, to the cooperating teacher, to the other university supervisor,
Yes.
the other retired teacher,
Yes.
right? So really each pre-service teacher could have his or her own sort of team of supervisors. Do the cooperating teachers also do an observation?
They do. I think most of the assessment is on the cooperating teachers.
Right.
But there is unfairness when it comes to the final assessment, where the university overlooked the cooperating teachers' assessment.
Right.
Because there's a tendency that they kind of like inflate the marks of student teachers.
Yeah.
They can easily award 100%.
Right. Well, they don't see many. They just see
Yes.
the one in front of them, right?
Yes, yeah. So we're still working on that, or
Yeah.
how do you then incorporate
Yeah.
the cooperating teachers into the assessment?
All the more reason, maybe, to share that observation with the cooperating teacher, because if the university supervisor has 2 and 3 critical comments there, or work on this for next visit, then the the classroom teacher can be thinking about those things.
Yeah.
They're likely to not give 100% now, right? And so on. But really, it's less about the score and more about the change of the university, of the pre-service teacher, right? Hopefully for the better, I would think. But you're trying to get change. We talked about that at another time, but
Okay.
trying to get improvement. So I think that sharing of the comments and using this as a tool for more adept sharing could be really useful for your study.
Thank you very much. Okay. Yes?
I would like to add something more about the use of tablets in your study, because there's a table there. Some of the teachers, they have the knowledge of for using the computers, either for personal communications or for some work teaching stuff they would do during the class. But for me, it's not very clear for me to justify the use. So what's so special of using tablets? So what do teachers or what do evaluators actually do with the tablets? Do they do something that they cannot do on their laptops? They have to use tablets on the spot, in a field, maybe like adding some lecture scale checkboxes, or they have to do some discursive descriptions or something. So they have to use tablets. They can only do that with tablets. Otherwise, I think that it would be somewhat for me that, the evaluators, they can do this evaluation, and when they get back to work, or they can do that on their personal computers. That's kind of thing. I'm not clear about what the evaluators do on tablets, because you're saying that those applications are still under design, and
I think it's about the time.
Yeah, time consuming.
They're servicing
administration.
100 pre-service teachers. So when you go home, you fall in bed. Right? So it's this issue of we gotta get this report out now before I leave the building, because if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. Right? That's what I would think.
Yeah,
having
that's
done it,
correct.
having been a pre-service teacher supervisor, it's
So-
like there's no leaving it till tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes, right?
So, so in your pilot, you install the program, like for example, the table that the pre-service, the supervisor can make a comment right away from the tablet, right?
That's correct.
So everything is carved out the form, and they can fill out for example, right now you're teaching the class. I am the first person use the tablet,
Yeah.
and I say, okay, you're good at posture, blah blah. You need to improve your voice or something.
Yeah.
And at the end, so you can send this to everyone who involved. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That is the
That's
profit
the
of the
main-
tablet.
Yes.
That I think
You understood quite well.
is that correct?
Yes.
I'm not sure that I just
I think I have alluded to this,
Yeah.
that we have over 28,000.
When you said that, I have to tell you, because I work in Asia a bit, and underneath the N, when we compare the Asian N, the number,
Yeah.
versus the North American ones, they're always off the chart.
I know.
And then when I saw that, I thought, oh, he made a mistake. He means 2,800,
Yeah.
right? No, you really mean 28,000.
It's
That is
28,000.
stunning. That is stunning. That is amazing.
I think I have to make my points more clear, because I'm thinking that how do these evaluation forms look like? Because when you think about some lecture scale checkbox, it's easy. Using the tablets. 5 points for this, 1 point for that. It's easy, and it's good for you to use tablets like that. But when you're talking about when you like to write some comments, something like that, actually, tablet is not very convenient to
It
do
still
that.
takes time.
Yeah, it's still,
no, but they still have the pen, right? They have the pen.
Oh,
You
that's a
can-
good point.
Right now, the
Or-
tablet is not
or-
just you typing. They have the pen that you can write on, right? In some model.
You mean like a
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean that I'm good at technology, but I'm thinking of you
No, I
go
get
to
it.
the
The point is, what's the secret sauce in the tablet, right?
Yeah, you
But I'm thinking the secret sauce is just the less paper. Trucking that across the country.
I didn't want to help to defend
I
him.
mean,
but
I wouldn't want to
think-
work in your office. You get 28,000 reports coming in times 4.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still need to go through all these narrative reports.
So he makes a really good point that, even when you replace it with paper, that there still may be
Yeah.
some special thing that could be accomplished in the. For example, videotaping of the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have to upload a video clip. That's something you can't do on paper, right? Or a
Right.
5-minute clip of their teaching, which is what we're experimenting with here, and I don't know if you have a
Or you
chance
can
to see
take a
that
picture
yet.
sudden, right?
Yeah.
In the
Yeah,
tablet.
that's a good point.
Now, those would be clearly
But I think the hard point how you can prepare
Yeah.
the teacher of you, the supervisor to do like I thinking like okay you use the pen, so then you want to take a picture
Yeah.
and you come back and take a note.
They
You
gather
need to
student
have a
artifacts.
training. I think that is maybe the good next step that for your extension of the research.
But that's another paper. That's a different paper.
Yeah.
I think one paper is just
For next year.
I will
So we are
let,
waiting.
saving the South African forest from your supervision model. Yeah.
500 evaluators.
Okay, I'm gonna let Bernard to address the
Rest.
remaining questions and make some concluding remark.
Thank you very much,
Second.
So just to conclude, so I have a gift for Bernard. Bernard
Oh,
gave me
cool.
a gift.
Thank you.
This past week, he gave me a bottle of South African wine, and I happen to have written a book along with a colleague of mine who used to work here at OSU called Redesigning Supervision. We put this out about 5 or 6 years ago with Teachers College Press, and so I wanted to share this with you. This is your gift to take back to South Africa.
Thank you very
I have
much.
the wine, here's the book. Trust me, I made out better on this deal. And then the other thing that we learned this past week was that one of our faculty members, Barb Lehman, who incidentally used to teach with Deb Boehner,
Yeah.
co-author of the book,
Oh, cool.
she, I believe, visited your university some time ago, and at that time they had an MOU with
Yeah,
OSU, which has since expired. Barb has just retired. Barb was on Annie's committee. But because of that, we're going to meet tomorrow to talk about another MOU between our institutions and think about how we might collaborate. And so it is my hope I might be able to get more South African wine tasted in South Africa. So this is our goal. So
Thank
thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much, Bernard.
Thank you.
Okay, great, thanks.